So we're here to do a presentation, joint presentation between Winncom, Tarana, viaPhoton, and ICT. Today's agenda and attendees or presenters, myself, Craig Mueller with Tarana, Keith Hyde with viaPhoton, and Cody with ICT. So we're going to try to keep this relatively short and informational. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Craig. Craig, are you ready for your slides?
Let's roll.
Awesome. There you go. You should have presenter rights now.
All right, let's see here. Everyone sees my screen. Better or worse?
Worse. That's your presenter screen, not the presentation screen. There you go.
How's that?
Perfect.
Hi, everybody.
Exactly.
Welcome to Tuesday. Hope everybody's well. My name is Craig Mueller with Tarana Wireless, and I'll just get to it. Tarana's been around for 16 years. I have about 500 employees. We're headquartered out in Milpitas, California, and really has been a fun 4 years since I joined. And we're really revolutionizing what you can do with wireless. A lot of patents, many more pending, a growing revenue base, millions of locations passed, and then grant funding. How do you get grant funding? We did well with BEAD and other funding vehicles out on the market today, and we look forward to working with our clients for more. Now, our data sheet overview, just a quick glance of what we do here. A 3 gigahertz, a 5 gigahertz, and a 6 gigahertz radio we call the G1 platform. And then in September, we released the G2, and that's my primary focus today to talk about that. But the spec sheets are all available publicly on our website, and they're very exciting. We look at our system, it's extremely powerful. It is an integrated only platform, so no large cellular arrays or connectorized anything. What you see is what we have. Base node on the left, subscriber unit on the right. And these are highly powerful computational devices doing multiple teraflops on both sides. This is digital beamforming at its heart. And that's really unlocked a lot of the holy grail items that our clients and myself, everyone on this call has been looking for their entire careers. And it helps us harness our energy and focus it in a way that's helpful and not harmful to the environment as well. We can support up to 4 40 megahertz carriers in the G2, as well as the 6 gigahertz product, the G1, 3 gigahertz and 5 are 2 by 40 megahertz carriers capable. We're also frequency reuse of 1. We support that. That's a real thing. I know that was hard for me to believe a couple of years ago, but our clients have tried it, and it is an amazing feature, probably the top one for me. Our interface between our radio and your network equipment is primarily an optical connection, 10 gig optical from the base node down to your network equipment. Our typical transmission ranges are 10 and 15 kilometers. I was going miles to 30 kilometers. We can really sync in our CBRS platforms with the LTE and the environment, which is extremely important when you're working in close quarters with other operators. A little more power than most people are used to handling, which is why we've got my great partners on the call with us to talk about that. But 275 watts nominally in G1, 425 watts, -48 volt power in G2. They all have a built-in GPS receiver in them. For me, the remote side is the part that really unleashed the things that we're able to do today, because it's a beamforming unit, because it's extremely powerful, has lots of mechanisms to help defend itself. Auto alignment with the remote side, up to 5,000 times a second. These are PoE powered devices. Pardon me. PoE powered devices. and which is very important, right? They can be BT POEs as well as passive POE. You know, when we're talking about the way that we're changing our waveform, it's a pretty important aspect to what we do. Part of it is nulling, and it's the ability for us to change our waveform, you know, up to 5,000 times a second to intercept inbound interferers, a dozen, 15 of them, and really mitigate the effects on our radio head and our performance across that link. And that's happening on both sides, both on the base node as well as the remote node. And finally, the ABIC interference cancellation, which is really frame level identification and elimination of interference and corruption before it reaches the other side. You know, to talk about the G2, why I'm so excited about this platform, it really combines the best of both worlds, what we offer, the CBRS as well as the unlicensed 5 and 6 gigahertz platforms, you know, pushed together with the new antenna technology, you know, accelerating the power that we're providing to our system to get more out of it with a single chassis. So, you know, 8 multi-user MIMO streams, which you should be familiar with if you've done our 6 gigahertz with X2. But the things that you trade off from X2 are all restored here from a gain perspective. You know, it's double the antenna count, so all the nulling is back, and that's very exciting. You know, more spectrally efficient than prior, the G1, which was already the leader in the industry. You know, up to 512 end users when this software is fully released later this year. That's a lot of homes to cover. And the great part about this is I can use what I need, right? CBRS and 6 gigahertz. I can run 2 carriers of each, and I can go and get those clients in the foliage or distance that are CBRS only. Those that I can see, I can use 6 gigahertz, and those that can benefit from both CBRS as well as 6 gigahertz, I can address both of those with a 4 carrier set of radios today. And that's the new RNM. The RNM is a 4 carrier piece of hardware. This remote node is going to connect to whatever you hook up on the base node. You know, so those that can achieve higher capacities with 6 gigahertz aggregating with the CBRS, this is a great you know, system for you. One of the great things about Tarana is we're always looking to make sure that you're not going back to the house and having to forklift things at the home. That's obviously the most expensive aspect to you know, what you do day in and day out when you're changing a technology. So all of our radios, based on frequency you know, specifications, of course, are able to support this entire cadre. So G2, if you're running a G2 with CBRS as well as 6 gigahertz, again, we do offer 5 gigahertz, and the Uni 3 and Uni 4 supported in the system under the 6 gigahertz moniker. All of our remote nodes can connect to our G2BN, and some of that might be financial, right? My RNV, for instance, is a perfect solution for doing 100 by 20 to 400 by 80 with reasonable line of sight. And when you can use that for 2 carriers, you know, that's really all you need. The RN6 will give you a little extra punch, a little more multipath handling if you're going to use that for something a little more difficult than what the RNV can handle. And you have the 3 gigahertz 2 carrier remote that can connect up for those clients that are, you know, out in the trees and you need to go get them. And again, that you know, RNM 3+6 is always available. And I'll conclude there, and I appreciate your all's time, and look forward to you know, hearing my partners discuss their solutions.
Thank you, Craig. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Keith Hyde with viaPhoton. Keith, you ready?
I am, now that I found the unmute button. We're good.
There you go.
All right. Tell me if you're seeing my screen.
Yep.
All right, let me get this out of the way. Hi guys, Keith Hyde here, viaPhoton, Vice President Sales. We're a connectivity, fiber, power, etc. SPD distribution box manufacturer located in Naperville, Illinois. And the products we're going to show today are all manufactured in Naperville, so we can qualify for BABA for you guys. We work closely with Tarana and have been since 2021, providing connectivity solutions for their radios. And I think some of the stuff you're going to see today you'll really like. And we also have a new tool, and not a new tool, but a tool I'm going to present today called Tower Map that should help when you're building your bombs out for all your sites. I have a long presentation. I'm not going to use it all. I'm going to use just a bare portion since we only have a little bit of time today. So I will try to slow down and cover what I can. And then hopefully anyone that is coming to ISP America will come find us over at the Winncom booth, and we can talk more in person. For they'll have some of our solutions in their booth, which is coming up here in Atlanta soon. So let's get into it. So we operate in an environment where we provide the connectivity for products from the bottom of the ground all the way to the top of the tower, whether it be a monopole, a freestanding or watershed tower of some sort, or rooftops. We don't really care what is going on, just the connectivity portion that goes in between it. And in this instance, on this screen, what you're seeing here, we have the Tarana G1 connectivity solutions. For that, we have obviously power. You got to have power at the top. So we have things called a coordination cable for connectivity from the distribution boxes, which you would see here in the middle. Our distribution boxes come different ways. They can come with SPD built in them or without SPDs, surge protection devices. For all radios at the top of the tower and equipment at the bottom, it is required to have surge protection. Mother Nature is brutal, and we want to do the most we can to protect your equipment at the top of the tower. With connectivity of the boxes, you got to have a way to get fiber and power to it. We have fiber cables and hybrid cables that we manufacture at custom links with custom connectivity on it. So you can tell us, hey, I need it to have LCs, SCs, depending upon what you're connecting it to. We can customize and make those assemblies for you. They're all made, like I said, in the States, so they do qualify for your BABA. At the bottom of the tower, we have things inside the lithium battery backup solutions called Fisher. We have different smaller enclosures for your fiber and your power connectivity, whether it be one without SPDs or one with it with, sort of like what you see at the top. And we have those solutions there. Also inside our box, we have a thing called an RMO. I don't have screen showed here. That is a rack mount unit for surge protection. If you have a need to you want to bring your SPDs into a rack, we have those capabilities as well. This has been around for a long time. Thousands of sites out there installed this way. Now we have a new one, obviously G2, which Craig was just speaking of. And our G2 is a little different connectivity solutions. We have several more options available. The connectors for G1 and G2 have changed. So we now offer both, and we do those terminations in-house so that they are tested in-house for certifications, and we install the Octus connector on it that needs to go to the bottom of the G2, as well as we have it with and without SEs in the fiber connectors. So you need SFPs obviously for the equipment, and for that we have different fibers that will have it included in it for your options. We have it as a discrete option as well as a hybrid option. Hybrid being one cable has both fiber and power going from your distribution box to your BN at the top of the tower. The slates for hangers is cleaner and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. With that, there are the types of hybrid cables provided. With G2, there is, and I'm going to flip over real quick to this page, there is a power increase. So anytime you have a certain power at the top of the towers, you have to be considerate of your gauge of wire going from the bottom to the top, and of course your jumpers across the top. So we do that for you on our tower map calculator. It's going to tell you what gauge wire you need. This is out of the Tarana manual. So 10 gauge is good up to 210 feet, 8 gauge is up to 328, and 6 gauge up to 535. So this will give you an idea of what power is required on your tower. Anything for G2 is going to definitely satisfy G1. May not on the reverse, it depends on the height at the time. Most customers were using 10 gauge and 8 gauge for G1s. So that if you are a customer, that would be something you might want to look at when you're doing these installs. I'm gonna go back to G2 just to talk a few things other. Distribution blocks, we have them for 2 SPDs, 3, all the way up to 9 SPDs. And you are the first to hear this. We do have a new solution that's going to be presented here in the next 45 days that will be a single up SPD. I don't have images of it here. I think it's a little too soon. We will be having an announcement, but it'll be a single source SPD that goes straight to underneath your radio, whatever it may be. And you can run right underneath it for your protection for SPDs. So that'll be something to keep an eye out for from us and from the Winncom announcement. Hang on, so sorry that just popped up in front of me. We do offer the programming cable for the G2s and the G1s. So it's a Cat6 programming cable. It's not designed, the one we manufacture is not designed to go up the tower for outdoor use. It's designed to be for programming at the bottom of the tower in your labs. And that is something that we also offer that's going to populate on your BOM once it's produced. And then discrete cables. If you have an environment where you're running let's say it's a rooftop and you're only going to have one being on the corner, we have different size power cable, hybrid cables that will run straight to that where you can bypass a distribution box. You can't bypass the SPD, so you still have to connect the SPD up to it, but you can bypass the distribution box by going straight from your power equipment at the bottom of the building or wherever it may be to your radio BN. And that can be on single sites as well for towers. Talked about that. I'm going to briefly just show some of the different images real quick. This is our smaller solution. This was designed out of a request to basically make our main distribution box a little smaller for factors at the top of the tower where customers are only needing max 4 connectivity solutions in it. So we have this one is 2, 3, 4 BN rated, or 3 BNs and a backhaul, depends on how you're doing your network. Built-in SPDs that are hot swappable if they ever fail. So you can just climb up, pop them out, pop a new one in, and you're ready to go. Nothing you need to change other than that. This most common that's been out in the market since 2021 that has got a fiber flip-up tray in it that separates the fiber in the little bigger box than what you just saw. This has capabilities of up to 48 fiber actually. And then SPDs in this for surge protection can be up to 6 SPDs. We typically see 4 or 5 BNs and then a backhaul as well. But you use it for however you need in your network. Okay. Same thing, SPDs are hot swappable. They all also come with a mounting capability. What I mean by that is one mount that was in our box can do vertical, horizontal, or banded. It's a nice option because you may get out there where there's environments where that pipe is just too big for the typical mounting, and then you can just take the back off and use a banded option to band around anything you so fit. Okay, so, and those come in all of our solutions. This is our larger solution. This is up to 9 SPDs, and actually I think I have it now up to 12. So 12 SPDs in a box for surge protection and for connectivity at the top of the tower. This box, we see a lot of customers utilize it for, they may only put 4 radios at the top, and they may move around things inside our box to hang stuff off of our DIN rails in here for running PoE or something else to maybe a different type of radio. So this box is something you can kind of customize in the field if you have a need as well. Let's go into tower map. I think this is something you guys appreciate. So let me open this up. Tower map, you're going to go to, you can get to it through the Winncom website. And once you're there, you can actually start your building of your site. You can hit start. Walk through, it's going to ask you freestanding or monopole style. We'll pick freestanding for this explanation here. And it's going to ask you, how many Tarana radios do you plan to connect? Now, you can use that as how many radios. It's not necessarily exclusive to Tarana. It can be anything. But think about your future growth. If you're going to go back up to this tower again and add something in the future, this is time to do it, because if you go ahead and get the hybrid you need up the tower as well as the right size box at the top, when you go back to add another radio down the road, all you've got to do is climb it, hang the radio, and run a power and fiber to the box, and you're done. So that's something I tell everybody, is to think ahead. Don't just think of what I'm doing today. So for this one, pick 6. Then it says, what version of BNs do you need? G1, G2, or both? Let's just say we want both on this site. And it's going to ask you how many G1s. Well, we're only going to do 2, and the rest are going to be G2s. Then it's going to ask us, do we want hybrid or discrete? This is a 99% answer is always hybrid, but there is an option if you decide you need to go for smaller sites. What's at the top of the tower? Do you want it to have a distribution box with SPD? Answer should be always yes. And do you plan to do it at the bottom? This is, everybody's a little different. Some folks will put a box on the side of the tower. Some will no box and go straight into the cabinet or shelter and run directly to the power SPDs hanging inside or somewhere, and then of course your fiber box inside. It's really your call. So for this instance, I'll just say we're going to do a wall mount surge protection at the bottom, actually, our pole mount surge protected bottom. This distance is from your tower shelter to your OHE box. That's the distance we care about. And some people like to call it a rad center, it may be. And you can put it in feet or meters, we don't care. So let's just say, and I'm gonna put in 250 feet, and we're gonna go next. The longest radio fiber jumper for G1 is 10 meter or 20 meter. I'm gonna just pick 10. Now, coordination cable is the power for G1. We're gonna say 10. And then, do you want hybrid or discrete for your G2s? If you're doing discrete, you're gonna get 2 cables with the Octus pre-installed on it, or you're gonna get one with Octus installed on both ends. This we're seeing is about 80% of what customers are purchasing today as a hybrid. Then it's gonna ask you the length of that one, as well as, do you want a pre-installed Tarana approved SFP in it? And if you say yes, you're gonna get a part number with that. If you say no, you're gonna get a part number with no SFP, and you're gonna install that in your field yourself. So we'll say yes. Hoisting grips, always need them. Do you require snap-ins? It's a yes. Now, you may have these in stock in your inventory, that's great, but it's going to give you a bomb showing what you should purchase for this install. Do you require grommets to be used in your hangers? We always like these hold better, but it's really a preference on yours. You say yes or no, it's going to give you a different part number. So we'll say yes. And snap-ins. How are you going to hang this on your tower? Do you have existing cable ladder? Do you have angle adapters on the tower? Are you going to use angle adapters? Or do you need round member to pose the type of tower you have? It's your choice. We'll say angle, and we'll do require snap-ins for your jumpers at the top. Always say yes. And grounding kit. At minimum, 1 grounding kit should be installed on the site. Grounding, grounding, grounding. We're always going to preach grounding. SPDs do their job, but they don't do their job without good grounding. And we need to get the lightning and anything away from that tower to protect your equipment, so it's always recommended. And we also, as I said earlier, Fisher is our lithium backup 100 amp hour server that can be stacked up to 500 amps. Based on what your requirement may need, you can pick, okay, I want 200 amps, and we're going to be able to populate that in the BOM. And Fisher, we have 2 versions of Fisher. Fisher is one's got a display you see on it, the other one doesn't. We call it a primary and secondary. Primary BMS inside can manage everything underneath and give you information, connectivity via SNMP at the site, so you can monitor your Fisher backups at all times. It can do a lot of different things, and I don't want to go into a lot of detail. We can spend an hour talking about it, but the Fisher can do a lot of things for you, as well as monitoring things, and it can keep that site up better than all the others. We have things inside of our lithium that no one else does. Example, they all come with a heating pad built into them, standard. But there's a ton of stuff, and we're always updating firmware and doing different things. I'd love to talk to you one-on-one if you have questions. Kyle, who's on this call, is one of our Fisher specialists, and he can also talk power as well. But for this site, I'm going to pick 200 amp, and then I'm going to give it a name. We'll just name it Test 1 today and hit finish. Now, this is populated as a bill of material. So you're going to see a bill of material, and you're going to see an image on the left coming here. And all of these items over here, if I highlight on it, it's going to highlight on vice versa on the left side or right side. So I see what I'm looking at. But what it's done is it's given us quantities over here on the right, all the way down, and part numbers. If you're on our site and you need to get a spec sheet, you literally just hit this PDF and it's going to populate a spec sheet for you quickly, and you can print it. But you remember I picked 250 feet, and you remember the math I did or showed you from the Tarana a while ago. It knows in the system you've got a 250-foot site, you've got to go to 8 gauge cable. So it's produced us an 8 gauge cable for the hybrid for power, so that you have that power you need on your tower. It will do this for you. If you would have picked 350 feet, it would have changed this. That would have been 1206. It would have been a 6 gauge. So it's smart, and will tell you and will help you do your bombs real easy. We picked a distribution box at the top, same thing at the bottom. Once again, PDF for your spec sheet. We told it we wanted 2 of the G1, so it knows I need 2 of the coordination cable for power with the Harding connector on it. It knows we need 4 for G2, so it populated those same thing as well as the spec sheet, and these are 10-meter hybrids for you for your G2 power and fiber together. You get 1 core of the Cat6 for programming. If you don't need it, I'm going to show you how you can remove it off, because you may already purchased and have these in your stock. Then your hoisting grips. It knows on the length of the hoisting grip or the hybrid how many you need, because they're supposed to be every so many feet, and it tells us we need 3 of these because it's a 250-foot cable to be safe on the site. Here's our 1 grounding kit. Here's our 1 primary fisher and our secondary fisher. And then here's our hangers down at the bottom. So this is now counted 9 is not 9 hangers. It's packs of 10. So it knows we need 90 hangers for this site because you're supposed to put them every 3 feet. Same thing. These should all match in quantities. Same thing. Here's our jumpers at the top. It's a lot less distance, so there's going to be less for them, and they're different sizes for the wire. Same thing. So these should all match. And then down here at the bottom, these are things we cannot manufacture. Actually, no one can manufacture but one company, and that is Harding. And these can be purchased through Winncom. And that is the Harding fiber that you need for your G1, and then the Harding Ethernet cable you need for programming the G1 are all produced or purchased from Winncom. So now, let's say I'm on this list and I need to send this to my person over at Winncom to quote, or I want to edit it and do some things. I can do a couple things. If I hit request for quote, this is going to send an email to Tarana, no, excuse me, not Tarana, to Winncom. It's going to CC me a copy, and I'm going to follow up with Winncom, make sure someone's helping you. Or you can download the BOM, hit the Excel or PDF, whichever you choose. I tell them Excel because this is where you can then edit it. Let me just open it so you can see what it looks like real quick. Apologize, taking a second. All right, so now it's giving us Excel BOM with all those same things. We see what I can do here is 2 things. I can come in here and I can modify these numbers before I shoot it over to the Winncom sales team. That's simple, right? I can come over and duplicate it if I have the site that's identical, and you can get it all out of this thing. If you wanted, you could come here and do new configuration, walk back through this really quickly, and I'm going to do it real fast just to get through it, and I'll show you why. It's cool. And yes, and 1. And we'll do no on this one, and then we're going to name this test 2. Oops, sorry guys. I don't know what I just hit, but it's got to go away. Okay. So now we have got 2 BOMs. So if you top here, test 2, scroll down below it, I have test 1. And if I do the same thing for the BOM in Excel, it's now going to also have both of those on there. So that you can then shoot those over to your sales team. So test 2's at top, test 1's down at the bottom. So this has done a bill of material for you for the connectivity portion that you need for your site. Now, of course, there's several other things you need: ICT for the power, grounding stuff for the tower, the cabinet, et cetera, that Winncom will put on the BOM for you. But this will give you the majority of the stuff you need for connectivity from the bottom all the way to the top. All right, so that was let me go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, real fast, this is Fisher. I did talk about it briefly for a second. I'd love to talk more in detail, so we don't have a lot of time on this show here today. But if you'd like, you can scan that QR code right there and grab the spec sheet real fast. I'll leave it here for just another minute, and then we'll move on, and then we'll finish this up. All right, hopefully everybody's got that. Okay. You know what? I think I'm not going to read all these details, but what I will say this is I am going to pass it back off over to Kyle back. But what I would like to entertain is, once again, if you're coming to ISP America, it's hard to say ISPA now, or ISP America, but if you're coming, please look us up. We'd love to chat with you in person. They'll have these products at their booth, at the Winncom booth. And once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to present this to you today. Kyle, turning it back over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Keith. We'll go ahead and jump right into the actual power and rectification distribution part. I'm going to hand it over to Cody.
Right.
We will have a little bit of time after Cody's presentation to answer some questions. So if you're thinking of some questions you have, drop them down there in the chat. Without further ado, here's Cody.
All right, there it is. Okay, just bear with me here. I'll get my screen shared. Just let me know if you all can see it. We're good to go. Good to go. All right.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Team Winncom. Thanks, Tarana, viaPhoton. Really appreciate you guys putting this together, and appreciate these, these sessions where it's not just one vendor, talking about their piece of the pie. We're actually covering, everything, right? So, love those like knock to node kind of presentations here. So, my name is Cody Cochran, channel manager here at ICT, Innovative Circuit Technology, based out of Canada. Really appreciate having Winncom again putting this on here. So just while we're on that topic of ISP America, again, I know we're all kind of battling with that. We will also be there. We have our own booth, and then I know Winncom, they always have our stuff within their booth as well. So if anything sparks your interest, please do. We definitely encourage you to stop by. We're looking forward to seeing everybody there. All right, so I do have a lot of content to cover. I'm going to try to get through it, fairly briefly. I know we all have a limited amount of time here, but just goes without saying, if there's any questions, you want to have a more, one-on-one type of discussion, by all means, let us know. We're happy to do that in collaboration with our friends at Winncom. Kyle knows our stuff inside and out. He specs it. He's got it in his lab. I think right behind him there, he's probably got some of it mounted in, and there he is, right? Yeah. So just getting into it here. So who is ICT? Well, we've been doing IP remote DC power management since 1986. So we're turning 40 this year. So we've been around for quite a while. Really got the start in the 12, 24 volt in the LMR space is really kind of where the business, really took off. And then as broadband solutions really started to advance in that 48 volt, really started picking up. That's been a huge, focus of ours as well. So, our two primary markets, we have the LMR side, and then we have the broadband side. So obviously more focused on the broadband side here, but just worth keeping in mind. So we are full manufacture, design, manufacturing. Everything is done in North America in Langley, BC. So that's in the greater Vancouver area. So all of our products, all the engineering, all the testing, every employee, everybody is based up in North America. So it's a complete turnkey in North America here. So we're a primary power vendor for, tier 1 OEMs, channel partners, just like Winncom. We're typically the go-to when we're fortunate enough to have Winncom when they are designing projects. They're putting us into those projects, and innovation led. So we do like to brag about this a little bit. All of our feature functionality that we implement in our solutions, today and moving forward is customer driven. So we take customer feedback very seriously. We actually, if you send myself or Kyle or your Winncom sales rep some direct feedback about our products, that will actually make it to our engineering team. So we encourage everybody, please do, positive, negative, constructive feedback, anything you have, please shoot it our way, because we definitely want to, we want to continue to, evolve our products for customers, every customer's unique needs. So when we talk about DC power and we talk about remote monitoring and control, this is really the big value of our solutions, is that ability to remotely monitor and control your DC power. Obviously, you're doing it with all the other components of your network, your switches, your routers, your broadband radios, your Taranas, your batteries, your BMSs, everything. So getting really granular and doing it on your power can be, extremely beneficial. So, minimizing your costly site visits, IT 101, whether it's a broadband radio, your phone, your Xbox, something's giving you trouble. What do you do with it? you cycle the power, right? That's always step number one. So being able to do that remotely, can really alleviate any issues, from your couch, from your office, without having to drive, an hour, 2, 3, 4, in cases even further out, to get to site. Other factors come into play as well. Some areas the power grid's a little bit spotty. Some organizations, staffing is even an issue. Just having the people power to send crews out to do truck rolls, and they're costly, right? It's costly to roll the trucks. That's going to be your biggest operating expense. Accelerating the time to resolution. So again, whether your IT NOC department has 1 person or 20, just diving into those issues as they come up and being able to check on the power, understanding is it something we can just, power cycle remotely, or just make some modifications in the GUI remotely, or do we need to actually get out to site and do some maintenance out there? The enhanced visibility and control, again, this is allowing you to be proactive versus reactive. So monitoring those power metrics, what's going on out there? Are you seeing, power outages? Is there planned outages? Storms, right? I mean, we just saw huge storms sweeping across, multiple states, right? Caused huge issues. And I know, if you have, our solutions, powering through your viaPhotons with using the Fishers, that's going to keep your Tarana network up and running, right? So it's just, again, about being proactive versus reactive. We've talked to folks who, we ask them, say, how do you know when there's something wrong with your power if they're not using an intelligent solution? They say, when the customers start calling. That's kind of when we start, noticing, and that's the, you don't want to get blindsided that way, right? So optimizing your network performance. Obviously, the broadband space, we talk about 9s. We want to keep everything as close to 5 nines as we possibly can, right? Keeping the network up, regardless if it's a service provider network, an LMR network, whatever kind of network it is. You need that uptime to continue to stay up, or you're going to start hearing about it from your customers, clients, whomever it is. And something that we're starting to hear more and more, especially as we starting to see these data centers and AI and all this kind of stuff popping up all over. We're starting to see electricity costs starting to rise in certain areas. We do have some feature functionality that can, potentially alleviate that. I think this is obviously going to be something that continues. Power requirements are going up as the equipment becomes more advanced. And that operating expense of just straight up electricity is, I think that's going to creep up on folks' balance sheets moving forward. So just something to keep in mind when you're talking about that, monitoring and control of your actual DC power. So, features and benefits of our solution. So I know there's a lot of stuff here. I won't go into, tons of detail. Scalable and configurable, just starting, on number one there, number 1 point. So we do have a number of modular systems. I've got a highlighted slide on that coming up here. So I'll leave it at that. I'll go through that a little bit, a little more detail shortly. Granular control. So this non-disruptive recovery, we see on point number 2, we have the ability to monitor and control individual outputs. So if you have, say, 10 devices out on a tower site, and one of them is a specific device is giving you some headache, as opposed to having to completely take the power down on the entire site, you can get as granular as doing it on the single output. So rather than power cycling your entire tower site and taking all of your devices offline temporarily, you can do it on an individual output basis, which is extremely beneficial, as anybody running a network would know. We have features, like Network Watchdog. This can automatically ping your switch or your router, in certain intervals. And if it's not receiving a response, you can have the system automatically power cycle that to try to get it back online. Again, some folks love to use this feature. Some would rather manually do it, but it is there in the software that we offer. Load shedding. So when you are flipping to your backup power, when you lose the AC main power, say you're switching over to your Fisher batteries, we can actually, our system can automatically load shed specific devices that maybe are not as critical to have up and running during an outage, whether that would be, a specific sector that maybe doesn't have as many clients on, or maybe even devices in the shelter, lighting, heater, if there's certain devices that you can live without, just to prolong that backup power. Our system can automatically shed those devices when you flip to backup power. When that AC main comes back online, it will light everything back up automatically for you, just a set it, forget it type of configuration. So nice feature there. Protocol connectivity. So yeah, SNMP. Obviously, we have a lot of folks pulling all the data from our GUI, from our software via SNMP into their, SolarWinds or whatever you're using for network management software. TLS, all the protocols, connectivity protocols we are compatible with. Alarm reporting, data logging, so the real-time alerts and analytics. So, just similar to your broadband radios, when you're getting a notification if there's something going on, you can get that with your power. So, the second that there's something goes awry with your power, you're going to know about it. You get your text message, you get your email. You're going to instantly know that there's something going on your side. So again, just getting ahead, troubleshooting as quickly as possible and being able to move forward with that. When we talk about uptime assurance, when we talk about battery management, we do advanced battery management in our systems. We've actually, on our latest gen of product, which has just come out, we do have direct Modbus connectivity. So we are able to work directly with those lithium-ion BMSs and pull the information, like Keith was mentioning earlier, and the Fishers. We can actually pull that information into our GUI, and you can export that via SNMP as well. So just kind of tying everything together on the power side. So a QR code there. All of our intelligent products that we have, there is a software demo on our website. I believe they have been added to Winncom's pages as well. So if you're looking around at our various solutions, if it's intelligent, there'll be a button on the page that says software demo. You can click it. It'll give you the full experience of actually going in, tinkering with it. We definitely encourage folks to get in there and tinker. So there is a QR code there that'll take you to our MPS2 management system. So I get just some screenshots here. Don't have the time to dive into this right now. We are happy to do that with new or existing customers. Kyle also knows our GUI inside and out. So hopefully that was enough time for folks to scan that if they want to. If not, our website, ict-power.com, or winncom.com as well. The software is all there. Okay, so bit of a busy slide here. Gives you a bird's eye view of the various solutions that we have. So we have a lot of options. We have a lot of different ways that we can put systems together. So if we just, we'll start top left, go clockwise around here. So we do have full modular DC power systems. Those I'm going to focus on a little bit more, so I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about those. But we do have, traditional rack-mounted power supplies, just, intelligent and non-intelligent, depending on your requirements. We have a number of distribution panel options. So we have, higher output options. We have breaker, fuse options, front access, tons of different flavors here. Depending on your needs. A lot of them are dual bus, so if you're running dual voltage, you're covered there. And again, all of our distribution panels that are intelligent, you can manage and monitor down to the individual output. So that is a feature that is consistent across our portfolio when we're talking about that intelligent piece and that granularity control that I mentioned earlier. Just moving to DIN rail. So we do have some DIN rail solutions. These have picked up a ton of steam. Whether we see folks, if they just have a single Tarana radio at a site, they just pop one of these, a pair of these bad boys in, and they're good to go. So you're getting the feature functionality of our larger systems in a smaller form factor. So whether you don't have whether you're just running a cabinet, it's a smaller site, we've got you covered there. So we've really seen these pick up a lot of steam. They're really getting popular for us. And then we also have, we have inverters. So if you have AC loads that you want to tie into, your DC plant, absolutely, we got you covered. And then we have a number of converters as well. So if you're converting voltages, and we also have a polarity reversing converter. So if you have say a positive 48 volt device that you do want to just convert over to neg, we've got a device there. So tons of different options, flavors here. Again, we don't have the time to get into everything today, but just kind of showing you the breadth of the portfolio that we have. And we're more than happy to go through design work, case by case. Obviously, Kyle and the Winncom team, they're extremely technical. They can take you through it. So we're happy to work in lockstep to get you what you need for your site. Okay, all right. So I said I was going to focus on the modular systems here. So we just released our modular power series in our. I got a typo there. These are new slides. I got to change that to MPS Ultra 2. But these are a la carte type solutions. So we don't want to oversell you a solution for your site requirements today. We would rather get you what you need for today, and then if there is going to be potential to scale up in the future, we got you covered there. So you can upgrade these kind of as you go along. Say you've got a site with G1s, folks who have our solutions deployed already, if they were going to go deploy some G2s there, they can seamlessly upgrade that system without having to do rip and replace, right? So that's something that we're happy to do. Winncom's happy to sit down with you and figure out what do you need now, and then potentially what might you need down the road if that site scales and grows. So multi-voltage systems, up to 12 kilowatts of power. We have 1 RU and 2 RU configurations. Various power module options here. All the power modules are hot swappable. You can build in N+1 redundancy as well for a little extra peace of mind on those sites. Battery management, single, dual string. Again, we have that Modbus support. The intelligent control module is included with all of these. Again, that's where the intelligence comes in with our GUI. And then the load distribution modules. So again, don't have the time to get into all the different configurations, but there's a number of options to put together exactly what you need for your plant today and then down the road as well. Just some quick. Obviously, we're not the only power manufacturer out there. There's a few of us. Why ICT? Again, that North American manufacturing. Every solder, everything is being done just north of the border up in Canada. So that is obviously becoming more and more important as we move forward. Ease of use and simple installation. So we keep our products and platforms fairly consistent. There's no covers, there's no bolt-on components. You don't have to load the software separately. So typically when somebody is new to our solutions, they can get up and running very quickly, and we're happy to help. That's where that technical support comes in. So again, we can help with designs. We will help, wiring schematics and diagrams, manuals, all of this stuff. We want to make sure if you're moving forward with our solutions that it's as seamless as a process as possible to get your crews up to speed, just so it's a nice smooth deployments all the time. Customer service. Again, all of our employees are based in North America, so if you reach out to us business hours, you're going to get a response in a couple hours. Nothing more frustrating than buying something and then not getting a response, right? If you need some help. So we do pride ourselves on that technical support and customer service. And we are members and supporters of various groups in the industries, WISP, these types of activities and events where whether it's an in-person roadshow or something virtual like we're doing today. We do Intellect as well for the oil and gas space, etc. So we are active in this space. This is an important market to us, and we're paying attention to what folks need and what they're saying, and taking all that feedback in-house. Build America, Buy America. So we are exempt. So we're covered under the USMCA. So we do have a signed letter from our VP of Operations if that comes up. If you're doing any BEAD projects, by all means, we have a copy of this. So Winncom probably does, or we can get it. We can get it to you. So just worth mentioning there. So again, I know don't have a ton of time here today, but we are doing just a ICT webinar coming up later in February. QR code to register is there. So please, feel free to join us there. We'll be able to get, in more detail about our GUI and all those specific solutions that I had mentioned earlier. I'll just leave that up on the screen for just a couple seconds in case anybody wants to scan that. We'd love to have you join us for that. And that is going to be it for me. I think I went a little bit over 15 minutes, but that's hopefully to be expected. But yeah, really appreciate the time. Appreciate being here. Appreciate the partners with Winncom, Tarana, viaPhoton. Really appreciate everybody. So yeah, thanks. I'll kick it back over to you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Cody. And thank you, Craig. Thank you, Keith. We're going to go ahead and open it up. We got about 5 minutes here. We're going to open it up to any questions. Feel free to drop those in the chat. Our other host on here will help us discuss those. And to further their point, I do quite a bit of testing with all Tarana, ICT, viaPhoton. I understand it pretty well. If you guys want any demos, any additional questions, or you got a unique situation, I can definitely speak to how the Fisher doesn't break physics, but it helps you move some numbers around. Very important. Lithium's starting to make a big push in our industry, but not all lithium's created equal. You have different lithium types. You also have different BMSs, or battery management systems. So one of the unique things that I've not seen on any other telco battery is active BMS. So that's a pretty unique feature to the Fisher. Happy to talk through that, and I will be talking more about lithium and Wi-Fi and power stuff at ISP America as well. So we have a session on March the 4th. Don't know the room number yet, but we will have a session. I invite everyone to show up with questions. And
I just, while we're waiting here, I do have to say, I remember I think it was the last time we were all in person. You were showing us, kind of your demo GUI that you have built, Kyle. And I know Keith and I were, standing there, jaws on the floor, just amazed at what you had put together. So I'd encourage anybody who's, attending here, if you want Kyle to take you through a tour of that, it's something. It's really cool. There it is.
Yeah, I typically don't share this all the time, but yeah, this is kind of my testing dashboard. And what I'm doing, I'm watching my internet gateway. I'm watching Tarana TCS. I've got I'm playing around with some AI video monitoring, watching my internet, my grid power, and then I'm talking to individual devices. And for example, here's the Fisher. I'm just pulling it directly from SNMP. Fisher state of charge and battery voltage. I'm also watching the ICT's input voltage from my utility company, watching some temperature gauges. I've got an ICT distribution panel where I've converted a couple computers to 12 volt directly, and I'm stepping down off the Fisher into the optiplexes, and I can see real-time draw as the processors and fans speed up. Then just monitoring and maintaining some rules. So if a temperature drops below a certain degrees, it turns maybe a supplemental heater up. This is more of a heat exchanger, so it pretty much just actually exchanges heat. So just playing around with different equipment, understanding how it all fits together.
It's very cool.
That's very cool.
You're missing the wizard hat, right?
No wizard hat needed.
Well, gentlemen, I think you've answered most of the questions that people might have. I do have one question on dock for Cody. It is with the new 1500 watt PSUS, I can get 6,000 watts capacity in a 2U chassis. But your biggest breaker is still only 25 amp. It says, I need a 50 amp breaker. Is it possible that you have any plans for one in the future?
So yeah, as far as I know, on the MPS itself, we won't be going up to 50. However, we do have our Energy Manager Series distribution panel, which you could run in conjunction with that power system. Yeah, I see it being pulled up here. So these this distribution panel be very similar to what you're familiar with using. These do go up to 50 amps. So if you do need a little more juice, this is what we would recommend putting in there. We do have a 30 amp option, but as far as I know, we don't have any plans to go that high on the modular power series. But I'll definitely check. Dawn, if you don't mind just marking down who had asked that, we'll make sure to follow up directly with them.
Absolutely.
So, and just kind of piggyback off that, obviously, Cody, it's your product, but the circuitry on the LDM has like a physical trace limit. And even your 30 amp breaker, I don't suggest any more than 80% load on that. But it's just the circuitry is a little different on the traces. So and we have customers that have really high powered remote radio heads. And we basically come off the 2U4, the 2U5 with the 1500 watt rectifiers off of the main DC bus and bust it into the Energy Manager Series so they can run the 36 and 50 amp breakers right out of here. Also, it gives them a little larger wire size capacity here. It is an extra step, but it's a 10% rule. So, anyways, that's hope that it helps to answer the question, provide a little guidance.
Thank you, Kyle.
At this time, that is all the questions that we have.
Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
appreciate it.
I would like to say real quick, a quick thank you to our panelists and everyone who is attending. Please be sure to keep an eye out for a follow-up email that we will be sending. It will include all the links to the information you just learned. So thank you again, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Now.